Syracuse eventually showed up in D.C. with under 10 minutes left in the second half to tie the game against Georgetown at the end of regulation, bringing it to overtime where they squeaked out an 86-79 victory over the Hoyas. We'll recap that game for you. Then Syracuse finishes off the last three non-conference games at home in the Carrier Dome, the first of which Tuesday, December 19th at 7 o'clock against Buffalo, and Friday, December 22nd at 7 o'clock against St. Bonaventure. We'll turn to Joe. He'll preview those games for you. Let's go.
Make some noise, Orange fans. It's time for the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast.
All right, what's up, Cuse Nation? Thank you for tuning in to episode 44 of the Cuse Nation podcast. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, and YouTube. I am Sean alongside my good buddy Joe. Joe, hi, buddy.
Sean, hello.
Hello. So, Syracuse improves to 9-1, ruined Georgetown's previously perfect record at 8-0. The easiest non-conference schedule in the country, ranked 351 out of 351. And they lose their first real test to Syracuse, but they put up a fight. Both teams fought. And by the way, this is episode 44, and everybody knows about the 44. So I scoured YouTube for like a history of the 44 for Syracuse. Then I Googled, and I found literature on it, like written up in like articles and blogs and stuff, but I didn't find anything on YouTube that was extensive. But I found something, and it has to do with like the number and the uniforms of the 2014 football team. But anyways, it doesn't matter because it still pertains to today. It's not like outdated or anything. But that'll be at the end instead of the regular close. We'll play that at the end. So, Joe, Syracuse getting off to an extremely slow start again. It's pretty much, that's their trademark, it seems like. With under 10 minutes to play, with about 10 minutes to play, they're down by 13. They just chipped away methodically, chipped away. It always was like, no matter how much time was left on the clock, you were looking at the score and you were saying, they're not out of it yet. They're not out of it yet. And the less time they got, the less the gap was to getting this game tied up or taking the lead. And they actually had a legit shot at the end of regulation to just pull it out with, no time on the clock. I think there was the Howard stole the ball and broke away for a layup with 1 minute remaining. And then they got the ball back. Battle drove in the lane, floated a jumper. That didn't go. Moyer fought for the rebound. Threw it back out to Howard. Took a three-pointer, missed that. 7 seconds left. Brissett grabbed the rebound. He went back up, couldn't make the shot, and then Georgetown finally gathered the rebound, and time ran out. So headed over.
Oh, then there was a foul.
Oh yeah, yeah. Then we had the nerve to call a foul with point. What I mean? If the foul occurred, it occurred with like 0.02 seconds left on the clock. And it's like,
yeah.
And I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with the officiating not being black and white. Like I get it. It's all. It's kind of, to me, it's not that it needs to be black and white. I guess is what I'm saying is that it just needs to be consistent in the game. And
yep.
You don't call that. You don't call that foul anyway, unless it's like a blatant elbow or something violent. You don't call that, unless it's really, really, really flagrant. I wouldn't even bother calling that.
No.
So yeah, we had to go to the replay. If that game, Joe,
we had to sweat that out. Yeah,
we did have to sweat that out. If that game ended like that, that would have been an atrocity, man.
Yeah,
and there would have been a freaking uproar. It's all you'd hear about. You wouldn't hear about any of the play. All you would hear about is the end of that game. And it almost happened. And the refs, they decide to blow it off. But anyway, Joe, give me your take, dude. First, give me your what is the deal with the slow starts? And I mean, 9 points in the first 10 minutes of this game for Syracuse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't like Georgetown came out like gangbusters either. So
I know, but that's the thing.
But we talked about it. I feel like every game, a team's going to have a feeling out process of playing our 2-3 zone, and we have to be able to take advantage of that. In the beginning there, the first couple of possessions, it looked like it, but we just got to get in there and just get easy buckets. And a lot of it just has to do with a lack of options. If you look at throughout the whole game, really, I mean, there was 45 minutes worth of play. And Brissett played 45 minutes, Battle played 45 minutes, Howard played 44 minutes. And we scored 86 points, but other than those three, our team scored 13 points from 11 shots. So when you look at, where the shots are coming from, I mean, there was a lot of, you're looking at 58 shots between Battle, Brissett, and Howard.
Yeah.
And 11 from the rest of the team. Yeah. So those are our three offensive players, but we're going to need more than that on most nights. So what made tonight scary, or yesterday, I should say, scary, was that we talked about Georgetown's easy non-conference schedule, but they didn't play anybody good. So really there was there was a mystery of not knowing how good they really were. So. And they looked pretty legit, because I didn't think we were playing bad and early, but I mean, this whole year we've been a second half team, and you could tell that just our defense aggressiveness, especially O'Shea Brissett, in the second half they came through, and once that power forward there for Georgetown, I forget what his name is, once he got fouled out with 6 or 7 minutes left, we started making that comeback, and like you said, just chipped away.
Gavin?
So.
Is that Gavin, whatever his name is?
No, Goban. He was in the whole game. No, I think it was Derrickson, Marcus Derrickson, I think it was. But yeah, we just did ran the press, and we got some steals. They missed a couple, layups or some contested shots. They got some easy ones too. But that's what you have to do when you're down that many points, is just speed up the game and hope that they make some mistakes, and you just gotta score.
Yeah,
and we did. So it was pretty good.
Yeah,
really good win. Really good win.
It was a good win, and it was an exciting game. I particularly don't like games like that. I don't need to be.
Get used to those.
I know, right?
There'll be a lot of those this year.
I know it. So, Battle finished with a career high of 29 points. Again, it's like every game is a career high for these two guys. Him and O'Shea Brissett with 25 points for his career high, and
14 rebounds.
14 rebounds, just phenomenal. He scored 24 of his points after halftime. He scored 1 point in the first half, and this is what he had to say about that.
You said you were more aggressive in the second half. Was the first half, was it nerves? Was it not finding your place in the offense? Why weren't you as aggressive early on?
I wasn't nervous. I tried to treat it like every other game, but their game plan was kind of weird. I would go set a screen, and the man would stay with me. Mm-hmm. They were boxing me out every time a shot went up. Yeah. They were on me, so I just had to try to find different spots to get open, and I was able to do that in the second half.
Yeah, and basically he had to adjust to the defense, basically taking care of him for the entire first half. So good on him for coming back after being shut down in the first half and scoring 24 points. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
he's been in a shooting streak from the 3-point line too. He shot 4 of 7, and that allowed him to be a lot more difficult to guard. And with his size and the way that he can drive and dribble and penetrate with the ball, and if he can shoot threes like that, then he's going to be very difficult to guard. So hopefully he can keep up the confidence.
Yeah. Between him and Battle, I mean, they're just superstars, and enjoy them while they're here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because if they keep playing like that, I'm afraid it's only the matter of saying, I'm in, and they'll be gone. So. The good, here's the I'm going to give you the good and the bad. The good is that the 3-ball has worked against us every game this year, just about every game. I can't think of a game where it really didn't impact us in a negative way. This game, on the other hand, we outscored Georgetown in threes 30-6. And Georgetown is a team that can actually shoot the three, Joe. They have a couple guys that can go off, as you mentioned last episode. Syracuse was 10 of 23 from the 3-point line, and that's the best they've done offensively and defensively all year with the 3. Just putting it away. And in overtime, Battle had 2 clutch threes within like the first minute. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and the one thing that I don't think this is a trend. This next thing I'm about to say coming up, but Sidibe and Chukwu, we know Sidibe's not 100%, but Chukwu and Sidibe combined for a total of 2 points and 4 rebounds. Combined.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can't happen. Nope. And that is their big man being, he's a big guy. So, I hope that these two don't struggle when they're really challenged down low like that. They got to find a way to score more and grab more rebounds than that. That's just disappointing.
Especially rebounds, Sean. I mean, Chukwu, tallest player in Syracuse basketball history, plays 24 minutes and only gets 3 rebounds.
Yeah, and
so
he missed time to rebound at the end of regulation. Remember, Joe?
Yes, sir.
He jumped way too early for a rebound that was eventually gathered up by Brissett, right? And then to Frank,
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and then to Frank Howard, and he got blocked. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got it. Those are things that's elementary stuff, man. Timing your jumps and stuff. 7-2, come on, man. You got to grab that. It wouldn't
and those 2 points weren't even until that alley-oop in overtime.
Exactly, and it wouldn't hurt for both of those guys to eat some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You know what I'm saying?
All of them.
Exactly. So, all in all, I really think it was okay. I mean, I wasn't that impressed, but Syracuse did. The one thing you could say about Georgetown, and you got to give them this, Patrick Ewing had those guys ready for the zone.
Yeah,
and it felt like that's probably really what they. I mean, and I know teams focus on this, but some teams they don't adjust well to it. And Georgetown did, like we talked about them getting off to a slow start as well. So they actually played the 2-3 zone too. Patrick Ewing thinking he'd be a little cute and do that. Joe, do you think that when they did that, it seemed to me, I felt like Syracuse struggled a little more. They play this zone. They should know this zone a little better. Georgetown played the zone more in this game than they have all season, and they gave us a taste of our own medicine in that sense. And do you think, in your opinion, did this shine more of a spotlight on the Orange's outside shooting being subpar, let's just say?
Well, I think that their 2-3 zone, them playing a 2-3 zone could have been the reason why we actually shot the ball a little bit better from 3-point line. I mean, I don't remember every single possession of what they played as far as defense goes. I know Georgetown had some guys in foul trouble, so they went from man to zone. Otherwise, I don't think they would have done it. But with man-to-man, battle Brissett and Howard, they were tough to guard, and they're tough to guard man-to-man. But the 2-3 zone, I thought that we had got some good 3-point shots out of that. I thought there was some good times when Howard drove the middle, penetrated, and dumped it off, and Moyer got some easy dunks. So, honestly, I think that we just got to get going early. I think our offense in the second half was fine. I think once we speed up the game and get it into press mode when we're down like that, I mean, I don't think that the defense. I mean, I really don't even remember what defense they were playing, but I mean, we were playing so fast and getting up the court, a couple steals and stuff like that, to where, I mean, the defense they're playing really doesn't matter too much. So, I don't know. I just thought the way that we were playing Georgetown's defense at the end of the game really didn't matter. I think that they got a lead because of, like what you said, Patrick Ewing. He had them ready to play physical defense, like what O'Shaver said. I mean, you saw it. I mean, they were disciplined and they got bodies, and box outs all game. We could have out-rebounded them a lot more. So, I'm just disappointed in the starts, really. And you can't let a team get up like that. And like you said, Georgetown, they did play the zone very well, but again, like the 3-point shooting was I think the difference.
Oh,
so
it definitely was. And Syracuse lost the rebound battle in the first half, 21-18. but they came back actually to stay on top once again of their opponent at the end of the game, 44-37 when all was said and done. So they finished with 14, to get that lead. And you talked about the press. And at first, our press, they were beaten. They beat our press good a couple times. They really, they went down, and that's expected. But we played that press. Boeheim played that press for a really long time. And that usually only works for a couple minutes. This time it seemed like it took a couple minutes for it to actually take effect. And then once it did, they got a couple turnovers. They got a couple fast breaks. They were just confusing things a little bit. And it actually, was kind of like the reverse of what you're used to seeing. And that's what brought him back in the game.
Well, you saw they started playing tight. When you have a lead, you're not playing tight. Then all of a sudden, your second best rebounder, your power forward, fouls out, and then your lead goes, from 13 to 10, 10 to 7, and then all of a sudden we hit one big three, and the next thing you know, it's a completely different game. Now they're playing tight. They made a couple mistakes. So
the unsung hero in some of this, we talked about Frank Howard getting that steal in the fast break. I think that was to tie the game, actually.
Yes,
the layup. Yeah. Which was phenomenal, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. But Merrick, he also had a couple key rebounds. He's just in the right spot at the right time. Seems like more often than not, he's right where he needs to be. And he took a nasty spill, and it didn't look good to me. I thought that he was probably going to be out for that game. And the way he landed. And I didn't know whether to be worried about his shoulder or collarbone or his head. I mean, those are the only things that hit the floor. So it
looked like he broke the whole right side of his body.
I know, right? He didn't have anything break his fall, and he's the scrappy, energetic, disruptive type that you got to have one of those on your team, and he's in the right spot. It seems like all the time. And the little things, Joe, the little things he does in the end makes a big difference. And he's great. I love him. He's fantastic. Yeah. So
big, huge key contributor. Yeah. All in all, it's a good win. I mean, last couple of years we've been getting hurt with our non-conference and the games that we've lost and stuff like that. So that was probably one of our only true road games, because the UConn game, and even if we would have beat Kansas, those are two neutral. Yeah. So just to have an actual true road game and beat a team that was 8-0 and now they're 8-1. They went 14-18 last year. So I can't really see them being worse than last year. So I think Patrick Ewing's got Georgetown going in the right direction, and hopefully they can go out there and be a tournament team and make it look like a good road win.
Yeah, no doubt. And credit, too, being as far removed from actual Big East rivalry as we are. The crowd, very disruptive, very loud. And I don't care who you are. Coach, I think Coach Boeheim said in his press conference, the crowd is the crowd, but, you got to work. Yeah, you got to play. You got to put it out of your mind. You got to put it out of your head. But it's hard. That crowd was loud. And that crowd they were energetic, and they were on their feet almost the whole time. It's tough to play in an environment like that. And Syracuse came back from 13 down, and to tie it going to overtime and win the game. So it's a big.
I mean, it made my afternoon, man. I mean, especially being on like CBS, with that with the NCAA music. Their NCAA basketball music's like the March Madness music. So I mean, every time they went to commercial or came back, it's like. It's got that thing in your head. I mean, just the music of the CBS made it seem like it was a more important game than it really was. And plus, being Georgetown, being down, then coming back, going into overtime, winning. I mean, it's just a great game. And as bad as we started, I mean, we didn't give up and we finished. So, 9-1 in non-conference. We got a decent road game, a win against UConn and Maryland, no bad losses, only lost against a top 10 team in Kansas. So as long as we, knock on wood, don't lose any of our last 3 games against these opponents, non-conference opponents, then, we should be 12-1 going into ACC play. So,
yeah, it's not looking too bad. So give me your grade Give me your grade to wrap up Georgetown. Give me your grade for Saturday afternoon's game.
All in all, overall, I think it's hard to give them an A, but
it's very hard, I would say.
I would say for the first 30 minutes of the game, it was about a C, and about the last 15 minutes, it was about a A minus. That's what I'll give it. Okay. I can't give the whole game one grade. I can't do it.
You can't do it, huh? Well,
no, because we came back from 13. We won in overtime. I mean, the resiliency that we showed. It's very hard to be unbiased and give them an overall grade. So
I know
we look like two different teams in two different halves. Really,
I know, but that's I hate that. That's one thing that's just like our staple sometimes, and football too has done it. Football did it.
Dude, there's a reason we're nicknamed the cardiac Cuse for a reason.
I know, but geez, it doesn't matter who's on the team or any of that.
Nope.
It's just how it is.
Game flow.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Joe. Who we got? Buffalo coming in first. We're gonna preview
the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, right. Buffalo Bills on a tear right now, by the way.
I know. In the playoffs right now. It's crazy.
I know it. So they got the tiebreaker with Baltimore right now, I think, because Baltimore won today. Buffalo's coming into the Dome. We got 3 games left before conference play. Conference play opens up against Virginia Tech in the Dome. I wish I could get to that game. That would be awesome, living in Virginia now. That would be awesome. But they open up conference play against Virginia Tech in the Dome, but we got 3 more non-conference games first, the first of which is Buffalo. Joe, give me the breakdown. Give me the Buffalo breakdown.
The Buffalo breakdown?
Yeah, give it to me.
They are, hello.
Hello.
Bueller. No, they're a Buffalo team out of the MAC. They're 7-3 this year, and haven't really given too many shout-outs to Ken Pomeroy. But
KP.
Yep, checked him up today, and right now he's got us at 52. And he's got Buffalo at 127. Their 3 losses, they came to they lost a game to South Dakota State by a pretty good margin. I've actually seen them play, and I'm kind of going to be willing to bet that come March Madness, you're going to be hearing something about South Dakota State and being a Cinderella as far as possible bracket buster. But they also lost a game to at Cincinnati by 6, and they lost a game to St. Bonaventure by 11. Their best win right now is a game versus UAB, but other than that, they've just been playing teams around the metropolitan New York area. So
yeah, right.
It hasn't been too impressive, teams from the Northeast and stuff like that. So they don't have a key win or anything like that. But they like to play really, really fast. And they start 4 guards and a forward, Nick Perkins, 6'8", junior. Most of them, 5 out of the 6 guys that average double figures are juniors. So they don't really have the height that you would see, but they do have a 6'10" forward that comes off the bench, Kenneth Smart, which I really wouldn't be surprised if he started against us because of the length. But they do like to get out and run, like I said again, because of the guards that they feature. Their best player, C.J. Massenberg, 6'3", junior guard, 20 points, 8 rebounds that he averages per game. So for their league, I think that they are going to be pretty good. But as far as competing against us, I just don't really see it. Like I said, they lost to St. Bonaventure by 11, who's going to be our next opponent. And, losing at Cincinnati by 6 isn't awful. But with they do have some guys that can shoot some threes. But, like I said, they like to play fast, so I don't really know. It all really would depend on how patient they can be. Because if they're just going to run up and down the court with our length, with our 2-3 zone and just take quick shots, it's probably not going to work out too well for them. So, from what I've seen... What's that?
I'm sorry. They're not going to be able to do that. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. Like again, I know that they got some guys that can shoot. It is Division I basketball, but just based upon the game flow that their team has, and the philosophy of going, it just doesn't bode well for them against us and our defense and height. It could against other teams in Power 5 teams in Division I, but with us, I think they're going to have a really hard time unless they find some patience, limit the turnovers, and they move the ball around and they actually can, shoot some threes and really, really beat us with the threes, then I see it being rather close early based upon how we've been playing in the first half, but I can see us pulling away and getting a pretty easy double-digit win by the end of it. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
At home.
At home Tuesday, yeah. So you just don't want to let down after what happened on Saturday. And Buffalo did play a game on Saturday as well, so they don't have any extra rest or anything like that. So
do you sit Sidibe for Buffalo?
I mean,
he's not.
I would if you could.
You would, okay.
Yeah, I mean, play Chukwu, and if Moyer's doing good and everything's going well,
some American there.
Send American there, play him in the middle, and then if stuff starts getting out of control, if they're, smart on their other team, 6'10" coming off the bench, if he comes in and he starts wrecking some havoc against Dolce, then maybe you have to get Sidibe in there. But just like this past week, I know he had a lot of fouls, but a lot of it was because how he's moving too. He only played 11 minutes, and I'd probably look for him to play probably less than that.
Yeah, Chukwu on the fouls, he needs to chill. Some of them are really just stupid fouls. And,
yeah.
And, it's kind of like, he's a big dude, and I get it, and he's lengthy, and he can get his arms into things, but he's got to fix that.
Yeah, he still looks like he's trying to get some of that coordination down.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like a newborn horse. All right, Joe, give me the Bonaventure preview. St. Bonaventure coming to the Dome on Friday. Both of these games are at 7:00, by the way. Give me what to look for St. Bonaventure.
St. Bonaventure, same thing. When I was looking at Ken Palm, I looked at and he has them at 67. So they're a little bit more formidable team. They play in the Atlantic 10, who annually gets 3 to 5 teams in the NCAA tournament. So it is a competitive league. Right now, St. Bonaventure sits at 8-2. Their only loss is first game of the season versus Niagara by 2 points, and then a loss to TCU by 10. And TCU's, I believe, currently a ranked team. So, again, St. Bonaventure is on one of those. And they don't have a good win either. A lot of their wins are, the Canisius and Vermont, type games. And so, again, St. Bonaventure is one of those teams because they did kind of come to this season. They have 3 senior guards that start, and they've came into the season as kind of like, a decent team that's supposed to finish pretty well in the A-10. So it's one of those teams where we just don't know how good they are because, like, again, TCU is a good team in Niagara. Niagara, the first game of the season, you never really know what happened with that. But, yeah, it's one of those games that's pretty –
It's one of these typical –
This is like the last game. In my opinion, this is like the last – this is the one game
like Toledo. It's like Toledo. Like, we didn't really know what to think about Toledo because they're pretty decent and,
Yes, I understand where you're coming with that, but Toledo, they play in the MAC along with Buffalo and the same as Eastern Michigan, who's going to be our last non-conference opponent. In the MAC, usually, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. It might have happened, but I don't know if it's ever happened to where the MAC's gotten any more than one team. Maybe a couple times they've gotten an at-large bid, but they're one of those conferences where they're considered a little bit lower than the A-10. And like, again, I said, A-10 usually gets 3 to 5 teams out of their conference. So, again, St. Bonaventure is just in a better league. They do have better talent. They have, again, like I said, 3 senior guards, 2 of which the starting point guard, I believe, 6'2" senior guard Jalen Adams averages 18 points a game, along with Matt Mobley, who is a senior guard that averages 18 points. So they have a good backcourt, and again, you know how that goes with playing against 2-3 zone. So the only thing that I'm kind of, I don't want to say it makes me a little bit more reassured, but again, they kind of have a similar height to Buffalo, and they do play a 3-guard set. The tallest guy that they started in recent games was 6'8", just like Buffalo, but they do have a guy that comes off the bench that's 6'10". So how they use their height against us compared to other teams they played, don't know. Another thing though that's kind of on my radar is that they play Northeastern on Wednesday. So we play a game on Tuesday. They have a game on Wednesday.
They got a way quicker turnaround, and they're playing an away game.
Right. Although, St. Bonaventure is in New York, so it's not like it's like a long trip, but still. Nonetheless, Syracuse is going to have one more day rest. And again, I just think this is a game that just comes down to the 3-point shooting. And I think that with the backcourt they have and the fact that they have more talented guards and it's a more talented team overall, they could have the patience to pass the ball around and come down. And I think it just comes down to 3-point shooting again, as far as St. Bonaventure is concerned. I mean, if we play our defense and we can score consistently, then we'll be okay. But if there's a game left in our non-conference that I'm worried about that could come back to bite us, would probably be that game. So.
Oh, okay. You're putting a little doubt in us.
No, they're a good team, man. They got good guards, and again, I mean, even after the Northeastern game on Wednesday, it's really not going to tell you too much. They just haven't played. TCU's a top 25 team, so other than that, everybody else they played has kind of just been a lower team. So, and then of course with Buffalo and with St. Bonaventure, both they have that whole in-state rivalry type thing. The smaller schools other than SU in the state always want to beat them. It's like the little brother, big brother thing. So
right, yeah. So it should be interesting, but and we're previewing two games at once because it's too quick of a turnaround.
Yeah.
So we'll be back after St. Bonaventure, and we'll talk about those games, Buffalo and St. Bonaventure, and then we'll preview Eastern Michigan or East Michigan. Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, it's Eastern Michigan. Yeah, okay. I mean, if I had to pick both games, I'd say that we win both. I think Buffalo should be a rather easy win, but St. Bonaventure can be a nail biter, can be a scary one, could bring the Cardi-esque Cuse back to their feet. But I mean, if I had to guess, after next Friday night, we'll be 11-1, and we'll be able to podcast and talk about the next game and figure out where we stand with the other ACC teams and if we'll even be close to being ranked at that point. So
yeah, it will. We will see. We will know a lot more by then in another week. All right. Well, hey, look, we got this is just about a minute long on a quick little clip on some of the 44 and the number, and having to do with the uniforms starting in 2014. So we'll be back here after St. Bonaventure. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
You won't find a college of numerology at Syracuse, but you will find a magic number. It's the number worn by Jim Brown, Floyd Little, and Ernie Davis, all of whom went on to earn All-American honors. And it's a number that comes with a legend. If you think the legend of 44 is just a myth, well, consider that the university changed its zip code and phone exchange just to incorporate back-to-back fours. And you'll find tributes to that storied palindrome all over Syracuse's new uniforms, starting at the yoke, where a military-style insignia bears the iconic number. Right below that, you'll see a pattern on the numbers. Believe it or not, those lines are pitched at a 44-degree angle, and it's a pattern mimicked on the shoulders and pants as well. There are other tributes on this year's digs, like elongated numbers meant to mimic the New York skyline, or mantras hidden beneath the jersey. But it's the magic number that's front and center on these legendary uniforms.